Good afternoon from cold, wintry New York City. I am delighted to tell you that the Healing Self, a revolutionary plan to supercharge your immunity and stay well for life, is coming out on January 30th. The book is co-written with Dr. Rudy Tanzi, who's a professor of neurology at Harvard Medical School and the director of the Genetics and Aging Research Unit at Mass General Hospital. This is our third book, and it can be pre-ordered right now online. If you go to Amazon or any of the stores, you can get it, and I thank you very much for always supporting my work. So today's question is from Roberta Bettinson, and this reminds me you can send your questions to me at the following email address: info@jayo.com, info@jayo.com. Once again, info@jayo.com. You can send me any question, whether it's from the book or elsewhere, it doesn't matter. And also please download the app Jayo and go to jayo.com, please, and share your own transformation with us. There's a section on jayo.com called My Story, and I'm beginning to read your stories and I'm beginning to enjoy them. So share your stories of transformation, healing, share your insights, and let us learn from each other. My Story at jayo.com, jayo.com. Download the app and let's hang out together and share our insights, stories, and transformations over there. Today's question from Roberta Bettinson. I have an inquiry that confuses me. You spoke on the live feed about the body. I understand all the forms the body takes and how it changes and never stays the same over time. I practice the sensations one should do with the body. You say the body is not stagnant, yet what confuses me is this. Many years ago I developed a bad cough that has stayed with me. The medical world has tested every part of my body to find no known cause of this cough. I asked then, how is this not stagnant and remains the same, living in my body for years? Much appreciated if you can explain. So Roberta, since nothing has been found, perhaps you can start drinking a lot of water. Let me know what happens. Drink 8 to 10 glasses of water every day and see if the hydration helps. Also check for bronchospasm. Sometimes bronchospasm, which is due to a mild allergy, can cause persistent cough, and that might be relieved very instantaneously with a bronchodilator. Other than that, if the doctors haven't found anything, then that's good news, right? Now let me try to answer the question that you have really asked, which is, if the body is dynamic, why do chronic diseases stay stagnant in the body for such a long time? So let's try and understand that, okay? First, let's actually do understand that the body is dynamic. So the physical body that you have right now is not the body you had even a year ago. 98% of all the atoms in your body are recycled once a year. So at the atomic level, you recycle the stomach lining every 5 days. Your skin is renewed once a month. Your liver recycles every 6 weeks. Your skeleton recycles every 3 months. And even your DNA, which holds memories of millions of years of evolutionary time, the actual atoms and molecules recycle every 6 weeks like migratory birds. So the body that I'm using right now to talk to you is not the body I had 1 year ago, and the body that is listening to me right now is also not the body you had a year ago. And of course we also know that as time goes on, then the body of course changes shape, changes size, gets older, and ultimately is subject to death, right? So a lot of people say they can't hear me. I'm speaking as at the usual volume, so let me know if most of you can hear me or not. Okay, so if the body is dynamic and changing in every instant of time, since you breathe in 10 to the power of 22 atoms and you breathe out 10 to the power of 22 atoms, and through processes like eating, breathing, digestion, metabolism, elimination, sensory experience, we're recycling the body all the time, dynamically, then why does it harbor chronic illness? And why does it get old? And why does it ultimately die? That's a very good question. Okay, so in order to understand this and in order to minimize chronic illness, even reverse chronic illness, in order to minimize accelerated aging, optimize healthy aging, in order to minimize painful end-stage life, we need to understand a little bit more about how we change our understanding of the body and our experience of the body, okay? So let's do that. Let's do that right now. First level to think of the body is the level of molecules and matter. After all, the body is experienced as matter, even though it's a great mystery what matter is. I personally believe matter is just the interpretation of perceptual experiences, and therefore matter is a human construct, but it is a useful human construct. Your body is made of matter, and the bus on the street is made of matter, and if you bump into it, the matter bumping into matter could generate a lot of pain and even result in the disintegration, death, and disappearance of the body. So matter is a useful concept. The body is material at one level. The second level to look at the body is as energy. Okay, energy is that which does work, and you need energy to lift the arm up, energy to speak, energy to move the body, energy to eat, energy to just do anything. And of course, matter and energy are the same. We know that from regular physics. A is equal to mc squared. A deeper level of looking at the body is at the level of information. Information comes into the body through the five senses: sound, touch, sight, taste, and smell. Information also comes into the body-mind system through language. Right now, I'm giving you information which is useful or can be used for good purposes, or for that matter, bad purposes, is called knowledge. And ultimately, knowledge can also transform into wisdom, into how we actually create for a healthy, joyful, energetic body. So that is third level of looking at the body: information, knowledge, wisdom. And finally, the fourth level of looking at the body is at the level of consciousness, because energy, information, matter are actually modes of experiencing consciousness as different modalities. So given that, now given this deeper understanding of the body as a dynamic aspect of the universe, ever in dynamic exchange with the elements and forces of the universe, how can we create the best body possible in every stage of our life? So let me come back to that in 15 seconds. So now, to answer your question, first of all, at the risk of some of you getting irritated, I should tell you that a lot of information is in this book, The Healing Self, a revolutionary new plan to supercharge your immunity, stay well for life, with Rudy Tanzi. But here are a few things that we can begin to do right away to change our experience of the body. Okay, the first is changing our diet. So today in the San Francisco Chronicle, and if you go to my Twitter feed, you'll find something on inflammation and how our diet can actually reduce inflammation in the body by changing the activity of the microbiome, the 2 million or so genes that live inside our gut that are actually bacterial genes. They come into direct contact with your food. So any diet that is close to the source, which is the sun, which has a lot of phytochemicals, any diet that contains the 7 colors of the rainbow, the 6 tastes of life, any diet that is high in fiber, that is rich in vegetables and fruits, that takes in an amount of fermented foods and therefore affects the microbiome, along with probiotics, will minimize inflammation in the body and move the body from inflammation into the direction of homeostasis, which is self-regulation. And that's number one, diet. Number two is managing stress, because we know that stress is very damaging to our body. In fact, it is stress, both psychological stress and the fear of physical threat, that leads to high levels of adrenaline and cortisol, which again causes a lot of inflammation in the body, which is a common factor in almost every chronic illness. So do focus on some way of relieving stress every day, whether it's through meditation, or it's through laughter, or it's through massage, or it's through music, or it's through dancing, or it's through movement, or it's through imagination, even crying and sleeping, and even enjoyable experience of romantic love, sex. All of these things will decrease stress in your body. So, second way to minimize inflammation. The third is understanding that by changing your perspective of the body, changing it and understanding it as energy and information, changing the very notion of how we age, changing your experience of the body on the level of energy, and engaging in mind-body coordination through breathing techniques and through yoga, through breathing, through pranayama, or anything that stimulates the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve that goes from your midbrain and influences the tone of your voice, your facial expressions, your lung capacity, your heart rate variability, and also brings about self-regulation in abdominal organs, affects the microbiome. So that's why yoga is very effective in actually optimizing the way that you age. It slows down the aging process, even reverses the aging process. So the biological markers of aging like blood pressure, bone density, body temperature regulation, fat content, aerobic capacity, cholesterol HDL ratios, muscle mass, muscle strength, sugar tolerance, hormone levels, skin thickness, skin texture and tone, wrinkles, all these can be affected by yoga and by breathing and by simple postures like cat-cow, Surya Namaskar, sun salutation, and pranayama. In fact, we have a breathing app. I have a breathing app that I just released with the help of Eddie Stern, one of my yoga teachers, and you can download it. It's free of charge. If you go to iTunes or Android, it's called The Breathing App. That's it, The Breathing App. Okay, so change your attitude about aging. Think of aging as an opportunity to grow wiser and keep a supple body at the same time. Okay, so that would be number 3. Number 4, alteration between rest and activity. So that brings to very important point, and that is alternating dynamic activity in the day with deep restful sleep at night, which I do, by the way, myself. I have all these gizmos that monitor my breathing, my heart rate variability, my REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, and also my deep sleep every night. Also, it looks at my heart rate variability. You know, you don't have to do this, but I actually enjoy it so much. So I always get restful sleep, as I've mentioned also in some other posts. I practice yoga nidra, and you can look up on YouTube and check it out, yoga nidra, but you can also check out my practice of yoga nidra, which I've talked about in these live feeds. So sleep, rest, and activity as alternating aspects of optimal homeostasis or self-regulation. Okay? Then number 5 is changing your core beliefs. You know, a lot of people have this belief that as we get older, then that leads to decrepitude, and that leads to loss of memory, etc., and that we are more prone to disease. Now, statistically, that may be true, But you and I are not statistics. We are making conscious choices every day. So change our core beliefs. And I do that myself by introducing 4 intentions every morning: a joyful, energetic body, loving, compassionate heart, reflective, alert mind, and lightness of being. Okay, so that would be number 6. Number 7 would be the experience of non-resistance or flow. No regrets, no anticipation, no resistance, just this moment as it is, being present. And finally, number 7 would be focusing on spiritual evolution, going beyond the ordinary states of sleeping, waking, and dreaming to higher states of consciousness, which I've also talked about, but we'll talk again about if you want, such as soul consciousness, divine consciousness, cosmic consciousness, unity consciousness. Okay, so now I have given you 7 keys to shift chronic illness. I can tell you from what we know now, the future of well-being is something to look forward to. We're going to be able to personalize our well-being. So the future of well-being, I always say, is personalized, process-oriented, preventable, predictable, and participatory. And when we see that everything we do every day can make a difference, and then we can eliminate or minimize and even reverse almost all chronic illnesses. Now, I've said in the past, and I'll say it again, and I say it on the authority of Rudy Tanzi, who was a geneticist, that only 5% of disease-related gene mutations are fully penetrant. Only 5% of disease-related genetic mutations are fully penetrant, which means they guarantee the disease. So this is where the future research in areas of gene editing, CRISPR, targeted intelligent drugs that understand receptors in the body, gene expression, all of that will be very important in the future. But I've also said this is only 5% of all chronic illness. 95% of chronic illness is either preventable or reversible, and the key to all of this is minimizing low-grade inflammation. Decrease inflammation in your mind by getting away from toxic emotions like hostility, anger, resentment, grievances, guilt, shame, depression, and maximize homeostasis in your mind by focusing on love, kindness, joy, compassion, empathy, and peace, equanimity. That's how you minimize inflammation in the mind. Minimize inflammation in the brain through exercise, social engagement, and also good sleep. Minimize inflammation in the body by focusing on what you put inside your body. Eliminate toxic food, toxic relationships, toxic environments, and toxic substances. And minimize inflammation in your behavior by basically not causing stress for others and enjoying the experience of flow. Okay, so I think I've covered the answer. Toxic news, David. Toxic news. Yes, avoid watching toxic news. You know, in general, right now, the whole world is toxic. The whole world is inflamed. You know, you have inflamed leaders, you have inflamed all weapons are basically inflammation, right? Mechanized death. And you have inflamed society, inflamed ecosystem, inflamed biosphere as a result of climate change. But you can not participate in that. You can choose not to participate in that. And that's why I also say, let's hang out together and share our stories on jayo.com. Together. Okay? Let's help each other. Let's share our stories with each other. Let's share our insight with each other. And let's share what we've learned over the years from each other and from our own life experiences. Okay, and so back to Roberta. Drink a lot of water. Check out, you might have a bronchospasm, and that is easily treated. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Somebody asked, what about intermittent fast? Excellent idea. When you fast, your body goes through a process called autophagia, which means your body's cells consume and eat up all the toxic cells and then digest them and eliminate them. Okay. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Sandra Pascal. Thank you, Elvira. Thank you, Judy Reed. Thank you, P.T. Diana Beatrice. Thank you, Patricia Samios. Thank you, Closia. Thank you, Cindy, for promoting the app. Yes, the app is Jayo, J-I-Y-O. Somebody said, Shelley, let's meditate. Okay, we've done that here, but we can do more of it, okay? Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.